The Cultural Revolution is here. When I was a child in school, we were taught about China's Cultural Revolution, a horrible act which took place in the late 60s and early 70s. It was so famous that the Canadian pop group Men Without Hats mentioned it in one of their songs, Living in China.
What would German Mao say if he knew what they're doing to his wife today?
Recently, Tucker Carlson interviewed a survivor of Mao's Cultural Revolution, and she wrote a book. Let's listen in.
People began to say that what was happening in the United States bore some resemblance to what happened in China 50 years ago, the Cultural Revolution, with red guards and struggle sessions, public humiliations, public atonements, a kind of secular frenzy that looked very much like a hate-centered religious rite, the Cultural Revolution. But was that overstatement? Well, Xi Van Fleet has seen both. She's Chinese. She was 7 years old in 1966 when the Cultural Revolution started, and 17 when it ended with Mao's death in 1976. And along the way, she became one of its victims. So she has seen both revolutions firsthand, and she's written a new book comparing them with a warning. It's called Mao's America, and we're grateful to have her, Xi Van Fleet, in the studio with us now. Xi, thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you. This is unbelievable that I'm here with you.
Oh, I'm so grateful that you are.
So why does this matter to America in 2024? Because there are communists in the American educational system, in our political system, that wish to bring Mao's system of government to the United States of America. They've already partially begun.
Very familiar to Americans now. They dismantled the criminal justice system. No police.
Really?
Just like a defunct police. So the Red Guards could do anything. There are no consequences. And eventually, they start to kill their teachers, kill their principals, and they kill millions of people.
The normal people who are watching this, your family, I assume, did anybody say anything about it?
Nobody can say anything, just like here. Why? Because Mao openly supported them. And Mao had 8 rallies to meet the Red Guards in Tiananmen Square 8 times to declare that he was their Red Commander-in-Chief. And those are his little Red Guards.
So there's no dissent at all, and things just get progressively crazier and crazier and crazier. Did people think that this was going to stop?
No one knows. And I remember that in the first, and it started, it was somewhat peaceful because all they did was destroy the past. In Mao's words, it's the 4 olds: old ideas, old culture, old custom, and old habits. Get rid of them all. That include destroy all the statues. The statues, mostly Buddhist statues, Christian statues, everything has to come down. And everything that is old has to be destroyed. So when they finish with the public spaces, they went to people's homes. And I witnessed the Red Guards went to people's homes, took everything they thought was old. Old is bad. Old is something that need to be get rid of, including furniture, people's old photos, and everything. Because the goal is to get rid of the past so we can replace it with the pure Maoism. So we were taught that Mao was our savior.
Yes.
And we have songs saying that he was our savior. He made it possible for us to have a better life. Why? Because he removed these 3 big mountains that had been suppressing Chinese people. They are the foreign imperialism, the old feudalism, and the bourgeois or capitalism. Yes. He removed them all. That's why we could have such happy life.
Pulling down statues in China, doesn't that sound familiar to what was happening here in America?
white supremacy. That statue plays a part in the overall system that keeps its foot on the neck of black people and all oppressed groups.
Chi Van Fleet spoke in her school district about the dangers of embracing Mao's cultural revolution here in America.
I've been very alarmed about what's going on in our school. You are now training our children to be social justice warriors and to loathe our country and our history. Growing up in Mao's China, all this seemed very familiar. The communist regime used the same critical theory to divide people. The only difference is they use class instead of race. And back then, you have to wear a mask. I said, thank God I have to wear a mask and that cover, hide myself.
This is a table of affluent white ladies who have paid money to be told they're racist. And I just want to get your view of this. Watch this.
Actually, Margaret, you didn't say yours.
What?
Your racist thing that you've done.
Thought about or done.
You have something inside of you that's not quite that's racist. So you must have examples in your own life.
I also work in environmental engineering. I have absolutely no people of color or minimal people of color, possibly the exclusion being slightly Hispanic.
Saira doesn't like her attitudes.
I can say a racist thing you've done because it just happened. When you just talked to me the way you just did. This is how white women talk to us all the time. These are microaggressions.
When I say the exact same thing to my white girlfriend who says the same exact thing.
I don't care if you talk to everybody like that, right? The way you just spoke to me was straight up white supremacy. You actually just answered with racism.
White supremacy is said to be hidden in innocuous phrases and banal behaviour. The smallest things could be considered racist. It's enough that a person from a minority group feels insulted.
Absolutely.
Finally, I'd like to close with the incident in Charlottesville, Virginia in 2017, where President Trump was accused of saying he liked the rioters, which was not the case. And I'll play his comments here defending himself.
You had some very bad people in that group, but you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group, excuse me, I saw the same pictures as you did. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down of, to them, a very, very important statue and the renaming of a park from Robert E. Lee to another name.
But at the same time, President Trump issued a warning.
No, George Washington was a slave owner. Was George Washington a slave owner? So will George Washington now lose his status? Are we going to take down, are we going to take down statues to George Washington? How about Thomas Jefferson? What do you think of Thomas Jefferson? You like him? Okay, good. Are we going to take down the statue? Because he was a major slave owner. Now we're going to take down his statue. So you know what? It's fine. You're changing history. You're changing culture. And you had people, and I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis and the white nationalists, because they should be condemned totally. But you had many people in that group other than neo-Nazis and white nationalists, okay?
Once you pull down unpopular statues from the Confederacy, who's next? Don't be fooled. They are lying to you. This is the same old communism that they've always attempted to force on America.
比如说，老师有时候也该向学生学习。拿上来。如果创作的音乐没有教育和鼓舞人民的作用，那么它有什么存在的价值呢？
毛主席万岁！毛主席万岁！打倒三家屯！
Just because they put it under a different name, it's still communism, and it's still something you must fight and vote against in the 2024 election. Thank you.
That's the power of indoctrination. That's why I always tell people the only way for us to win the war is to get our school back, get our university back, and of course media, because those are the institutions that shaping people's mind, and they are all in the hands of Marxists.
What motivates Marxists?
Power. Power. When you think that way, everything's easier to see. I did not know why Mao would just launch this revolution that destroy everything, destroy people's lives, my life, and power. Power. He wanted to launch the Cultural Revolution because he wanted to have absolute power, and he did. In the process, he became not just the supreme leader, he became our God.